Redditors who didn't know they were in the outer circle of a friend group. What was your "osh, they don't really like me that much" moment? Went to a sleepover when I was about 12 to 13y/0. It was for my best friend's birthday. They said let's sit in a circle and list our favorite things about each other. Sounded wholesome, so I sat in the circle. When my turn came around, everyone in the circle had nothing positive to say about me. Butt wiped. "You're actually really annoying, and we don't like you." My best friend looked sad for me, but didn't say anything. Damn, kids are mean. A bunch of friends in college would meet at one of the dining halls for lunch every Tuesday and Thursday. I had a class that ended 15 minutes later than them, so I would fly there on my bike so I could eat with them. I noticed that, unlike earlier, I would get through the line and to the table right about when everyone else was finishing up and getting ready to leave, even though none of them had to rush off to a class. Finally, a girl I knew casually was at a nearby table, so when everyone else left, I sat with her and she dropped a bomb on me. They were waiting for me to get there, just so they could leave. Just as I got to the table, one of them even said, "Here comes me, time to leave," and the others chuckled. I stopped rushing to get there. I started having lunch with that girl instead. That was in 1992. I'm still close friends with that girl. We are going to a convention this weekend together. Got pretty sick and was in the hospital for a week. Not one of my friends in a small group of supposedly close friends reached out to see if I was getting better. They never visited, didn't even so much as get a text from them. We hung out almost daily for the past 2 years and they knew I was in the hospital. When I finally got better, I decided it was time to get some new friends. I was sitting at the lunch table with them and they were talking. It then dawned on me that they never talked to me during lunch or reached out to me during break. I was basically following them around like a stupid lost puppy all the time, while they couldn't care less. If it makes you feel any better, we've got one of those types in our group that doesn't get included in the conversation all that much, but when he's not around we are like, "Wait a minute, where's John Doe?" They all told me they had cancelled their plans to go to a lake over the weekend. I found out they actually went and had replaced me with someone else through their Snap stories. Had a tangential friend group. They were fine people and I was new to the city. Bought a boat and all of a sudden we are best friends. The immediate rise to central friend made me step back and go, "Yano." So when I took notice of when I wasn't invited to normal day-to-day stuff in the group, like concerts and dinners, versus when the Thursday flurry of texts came in about the weekend on the boat, I distanced myself. Back in high school, I thought I was best friends with a girl on my sports team for 3 to 4 years. Through thick and thin I've been there for her. I supported her through severe depression, bullying, abusive home life, multiple suicide attempts, giving her my clothes when her dad periodically burned hers, bringing her food from my house, splitting my bus tokens so she didn't have to walk home from practice late evenings. You have to qualify for them. Letting her wash her clothes and bathe at my house so she didn't get ridiculed. Stuck up for her during a time she nearly got expelled wrongfully, and just being a good friend to her in any way I could. Long story short, senior year, between classes, when I asked her where did she want my mom to take her out to eat for her birthday this year. My mom was doing this the past few years. She told me she was going to out with her and me this year because I only want to hang out with friends, but I'll see you on Monday. I didn't even know what to say and stared blankly at her, then went to class, then practice. I felt hurt and was so salty that McDonald's cold viewed me for their French fries for a long time after that. I haven't spoken to her since. I became friends with a group of women my own age, mid-20s, through a mutual friend we all shared, and I thought we were getting along really well. We would meet up at least once a week and do dinner and movies at one of our homes. I was invited to weddings, hosted baby showers. We all belonged to the same social media group and chatted constantly. Then gradually I started noticing I was no longer being invited to things. I would show up at an event and be totally out of the loop as far as major life changes were concerned, and no one would bother telling me anything or filling me in. I then found out through that mutual friend that the group had gotten tired of me, and instead of saying anything they had created a new social media group without me and were just waiting for me to take the hint and leave them alone. So I did. I stopped trying to stay connected and just let the 4 years of friendship die. I saw them all at that mutual friend's wedding recently and tried to have a casual conversation, catch up and everything, but not a single one of them even looked at me or said a word to me. I felt really stupid and confused as I stood in a group with them, but was completely ignored. I eventually wandered off. My husband has longtime friends and they all work for the same company and are often out of town. The wives/girlfriends have gotten to know each other and for a while had regular girls' nights. The woman who planned them worked at the same place as I do and would ask what I was up to each weekend as we did stuff at work. Girls' nights were always planned after I had confirmed that I would be out of town taking care of my grandmother. I don't know if it was truly on purpose or not, but it felt like it was. I spent my free time over a fall and winter helping a friend restore a fishing boat, 25'ish Mako. Sanding old rough fiberglass. This is agonizing work by the way. You have to have all of your skin covered. Goggles, respirator, gloves or the fibers embed in your skin. Putting down new fiberglass. Sanding that smooth. Priming, painting, gel coating. Lacing a new canvas onto the T-top. Guess who didn't get invited on the first trip? Yup, we don't speak anymore. Thought everyone on my soccer team were good friends. Then I found out about the group chat that I wasn't part of. Next, one of my teammates didn't know who I was when I joined her live stream. I eventually took 3 months off because of any problem, and when I showed back up, nobody cared. Nobody asked why I was gone. Nothing. Just a few "oh, hey, you're back." I guess it doesn't help that I played keeper, kinda the outcast position. Luckily, I quit soccer, so no more of that. My friend group had a group chat called The Crew which was made in between sophomore and junior year of high school. It was used somewhat regularly for a while, up until the middle of senior year. I noticed that it straight up wasn't being used anymore. While I was around some of them one day, I noticed them having the crew notifications pop up on their phone and finally I asked my best friend, like one of the 3 people in that group I'm still friends with today, if they made a new group chat, and he said yeah. It was basically the old one minus me, and plus like 10 more people. It sucked, but whatever. FM/. For me it was my first year of high school. I was on my school's JV basketball team, and during a half day of school all the girls decided they were going to go out to lunch together. I was one of the only 2 girls on the team not invited. I was already feeling pretty lonely that year, but that was the icing on top of the fucking cake. I went home and broke down, and to make matters worse I had to face everyone later on at practice. It stung like hell. Mind you, I had known a majority of these girls for several years and had gotten along with them quite well, so I was quite confused on why I wouldn't have been invited. The next day I asked someone why no one invited me, and I get slapped with the "oh, I thought we did." Clearly my presence mattered so much. Several years later I unwillingly embrace my loner status. When I cut off contact and nobody at all even cared, lol, I was essentially depressed and suicidal. They wouldn't have known I was suicidal or whatnot, but they didn't even bat an eye when I just did that out of the blue. Had it not been for the fear of death and my cat I probably wouldn't be here right now. The group of people I often hung out with decided to have a sleepover/movie night. I was not invited because they forgot to tell me. Next day at school they told me it was actually for the better because they all got drunk and I was known for never drinking. That was about 8 to 9 years ago and I never felt like part of a friend group since then. Last day of school before spring break. The day ends and I go home. I check on social media and I see that all of my friends went to someone's house to practice for band. I'm in band. We literally met through band, so I was kinda offended, but just brushed it off. The second time is when a group of them decided to hang out at a park that isn't even a minute's walk from my place without me. They never brought it up. They'd come over before, so they knew I lived there. Turns out they were mad at a joke I made about a month prior, and instead of being mature and telling me, they made a group chat without me and started doing things without me until I left them alone. I've gone my entire life being the lone wolf type and have never really had a best friend or really even any close friends. I've talked to maybe two from high school and a couple after leaving the military. I've always been one to just keep to myself, and for the most part, it's worked for me. Nobody really bothers me, and I don't bother them. I've even realized that even none of my brothers ever really contact me unless I contact them first. I've gone my entire life without anybody seriously asking, hey, how are you doing? I could probably disappear off the face of the earth, right, and nobody would ever notice or care. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe.